another few moments for a couple presentations. We're so lucky to have a special guest with us, Wendell Josh Waffleman. He is here to, he's going to share a bit about the original coffee house 38 years ago. And Josh Waffleman was the original MC at that coffee house. If you're from Wendell or from the region, you very likely have seen Josh's work. He's been a tireless, committed clown activist for decades. Many of you probably know him as Waffleman. And he's done this work for decades on all the important issues, going back to barring Route 2 from going through Wendell State Forest. Part of the large teams of people shutting down Vermont Yankee. I'd love to just have a hand for that. Many of you in the audience have worked so hard on that. So many Wendellites. And now Josh is involved in climate change activism, and he's here to tell us a little bit about the history of the coffee house.
Wow, well, thank you very much for that applause. And I brought one of my creations here. This is a silent Suzuki. It never loses its tune. Just quiet for a minute and you'll hear. And I'm prepared to back up this group with a song that you will all sing, and I'll back you up with this instrument.
All right.
But we won't do that right away. I first want to really get some clarity about how the Full Moon Coffee House came to be. Okay? And it's exciting for me because there were a group of activists, Wendellites, New Salem, I think also in Irving, who were outraged at the Boston government, who signed a paper taking apart their mountain natural forest to make a highway. And they signed it into law, and they were going to do it. But people like Ann Zach, Jonathan Von Ranson, a whole group of people got together, and somehow they included me. I don't know why they included me, but they did. And we started to meet, trying to think of ways to confront what Boston was planning. And we had some really, Michael Italy, and I forget the other elder man who passed away. They went and they learned how to lay out a highway, and they designed the highway, giving Boston an alternative way around the mountain. I couldn't believe it. Really. But now what happened was Ann Zach was saying, we're going to need money. We all need money. And we're going to need to raise money for the legal fees, okay? Because we're going to need a lawyer to fight this. We used to meet. So in one meeting in New Salem, we gathered, and I had talked to some of the early Wendellites, Jimmy Two Feathers. I don't know if you remember, anybody knows Jimmy Two Feathers?
Yeah,
Jimmy Two Feathers. And there was another woman, and they were telling me Wendell has a tradition of having a coffee house called the One Log Coffee House. Now, what the One Log Coffee House was, people would come in the winter and bring a log to where Apollo's house is now, which was a barn. They bring the log, and they'd all go and play, they warmed and played and and that was the beginning of community coming together in that fashion. Well, when Jimmy Two Feathers told me about that, I was inspired, and I was on the committee. So when we met, the next time we met, we circled up and they talked about how to get money for the legal fees. I announced my own creation of believing in the full moon. We can have a coffee house on the full moon. Just at that moment, the kitty that lived in that house was on the second floor and urinated. The urination came through the beams and landed on my head. I thought, wait a minute, this is an omen from the goddess. Basically, I'm being anointed by this idea. Well, everybody in the committee didn't exactly poo-poo me, but they kind of said, well, that's Waffles, he's a client, what is he? Okay. The next meeting, I didn't attend, and they had a meeting. And during that meeting, someone brought up the idea that I had presented at the previous meeting. And this person who lived up on Bear Mountain jumped up and said, that's a great idea, let's do it, right? So we began to do it, and I was very happy because they took my title, Full Moon Coffee House. They put it out there, and the first performances were 2 acts. We had an opening act and a second act, and then a couple of times we did that, and then I got the idea, also with Jimmy Two Feathers, hey, we can have an open mic. Now that idea was fabulous because, yes, it would fill up a lot of time, and we'd have the main performer. And so when we announced Full Moon Coffee House, we didn't have the technology to ask for people to sign up with electronics ahead of time. No. If you wanted to be on the full moon, you would come that night and I would sign you up. And that's why the early full moons were spontaneous, energetic, because people would be sitting around there. Doris, I think I'm going to do the open mic tonight. I don't know about that. Rather than signing up and then practicing and getting all nervous about coming to the open mic and being on. No. They came and they did what they do spontaneously. Well, the open mic got so powerful that it never wanted to end, and we had to end it. Wait, you got to stop at an hour and a half. Then we got to stop it at an hour because the main acts were main acts were also enjoying the incredible local talent that was coming up here, and things you would not believe, like. But I don't want to go into that detail right now because that is what generated a whole amount of movement that brought this community to resist the Boston attack on our Bear Mountain. And we eventually won the fight. Yeah. And we had a blast because we went all over Massachusetts following the caucus. Someone created a bear to represent Bear Mountain. And we were convinced that that bear should go everywhere that Duke the caucus went. And 23 or 24 of us volunteers eventually got into that costume and went here and went there, and wherever the caucus showed up. And I remember one time he came to a brunch over in Hadley or something to talk, and I was in the costume, and I was standing out there, and Duke the caucus was a Greek, and I'm basically Greek, so I'm in the costume, and as he came by, I said, Yasu, yes, in Greek, Yasu Bona, Tikanis, Posise, hey, and he flipped out. But I didn't realize he flipped out. He went in, and when he made his presentation to the group, he said, that Route 2 group that's trying to preserve the highway, they got a bear that speaks Greek. These kind of things happen continuously until the community here put down the highway.
Yeah.
And the Foolum Coffee House stepped up into its own right and went on its own with the understanding that if they would try to do a highway again, we'd have a bottle yell, okay. So right now I'd like to do, folks, I don't have much longer to be in the community. I'm suffering from an illness, and so I don't want to go into the dreaded truth about that, but I am believing in Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra said, it ain't over till it's over. And I believe that. So I can continue on my way. Thank you very much. Now remember, that's the true story. And no matter what anybody says to you, it took a kitty urinating on the head a lot of time. But right now, I'd like to take my magical bazooki, which I found in a thrift store in Tucson. And it's tuned, it's always in tune. And I'd like to ask you to join me in singing, and I'll back you up, okay? And I want to start with the low voices. I don't want to go, yeah, okay. Let's start with low voices and then see if we can do the second chorus a little louder or not. And all right, so I'll start it off and I'll tell you when to come in. It goes like this. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. And a long time I've been around, and I got to be moving along. Everybody. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. And I've been around a long, long time, and I got to be moving along. Thank you very much, everybody.